Hey, be a squid and subscribe to my mediocrity. Why, hello there. It's your boy, young squid god. Jesus Christ, it's so early in the morning. Hello everyone, today we're back on Warframe, playing around with some garbage. We've got Limbo Prime, the big guy with the hat. Quite possibly one of my favorite Warframes to play in general in this fucking game. I gotta be honest, he's probably the most anime meme type Warframe next to the ninja ones, but for the most part, if you guys just want to put it in plain layman's weeb terms, basically Limbo is basically Dio. He is WARUDO 100%. So we're gonna go over two builds, big bubble build and little bubble build. Personally, it doesn't really matter because in your realm of nonsense, you are a god and nobody can challenge your reign. That is the honest truth about Limbo. He is a god in his own realm. Now, while the build is pretty much gonna be a freeze stasis build, you're gonna need to bring weapons that kind of make sense to help you out with your clear, because Limbo has like no offensive capabilities in terms of abilities, so you'll have to bring weapons that carry him forward, but you will be able to take out basically anything with little to no effort as long as you have energy, and considering that he gives himself energy, you can never run out of energy, so you are the energy god as well. So this is build one, where you have decent duration, and by decent you have really good duration actually, and your range is only 190. It's still pretty big, honestly. You can go larger if you want, but personally I prefer to not fill my forma any more than I already have, so I don't really care to go any kind of heavy forma for this. I mean, Limbo is strictly one of my weapon leveling up warframes because you can freeze time and just use whatever weapon you are currently leveling up to go by faster. So that's the whole point of this, is to freeze the enemies while you utilize your weapons to level them further. So that's why the big bubble makes sense if you want to freeze a larger number of enemies in a bigger range to have more of a separation effect, where if you're standing somewhere and you want more time to get to the other side, that would be the point of the bigger bubble. If you do the smaller bubble, everything's a bit more condensed and you can clear a little bit more faster, but whenever you turn that bubble off and there's still stuff alive, you might take a good bit of damage. Limbo is not a tanky warframe. You can kind of make him tankier, but in my personal opinion, that is a waste of a mod space, and Limbo is a god, therefore he doesn't need bitch frame fucking mods. But you can tweak this build however you like. This is just what I'm using currently, but it's whatever. And then over to the smaller bubble section. This is the one that I've been kind of playing around with a little bit right now. The range is only 40%. Personally, I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that. I'm thinking about expanding it just a little bit because the bubble is very small and I like to have a bit more room to work with, especially if I'm leveling a melee weapon. So having that kind of condensed space makes it a little bit hard, especially whenever some of the enemies, especially if you're going against infested, they sometimes have poison on them, so your low health pool tends to get lower and lower gradually as you're progressing through the matches. So you might want something to give yourself a little bit more range, so that way you don't get poisoned or whatever by any kind of garbage ass infested enemies. So one thing I'm gonna point out is that natural talent, you do not need this by any means whatsoever. You really don't. Primed flow, I would also argue you don't need this either. I just put it on there because I didn't know what really to put in the last two spots. This is the only build I've ever come across where two spots are kind of just up in the air and put whatever you want here. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the 40% range, so I'm thinking about changing natural talents into something a bit more rangy, like augur reach, which will give us 30%. So this will bring us up to 70% range, which I think that's where I'm going to keep the sweet spot at. But if you want to cast your abilities more faster, natural talent is an option, or you can put something else that fits there like health, armor, whatever it is you want to put there. Personally, if you're looking for a tankier frame in whatever reason for Limbo, I would put vitality there, so that way you have a bit more of a health pool to play with rather than 300. So some of you might be wondering if you need more efficiency. Just to answer that question, no, I don't think you're going to need any more efficiency. Your duration is 287%, which you're going to be within your bubble, which gives you energy consistently. So no matter how you slice this, you're going to be getting energy so much that it doesn't matter. It's like 70 seconds or something that your bubble will last, so that's 70 seconds of consistent energy being given to you. And if you're not spamming any other abilities, which Limbo's not a spammy Warframe with abilities, you just cast bubble and stasis, and that's kind of it. So as long as you do that, you will never run out of energy ever. Now, like I said in the beginning, Limbo is really great for leveling up your weapons, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to form up my Amprex again for the 4th time because, God, this weapon, it just upsets me to no end. Okay, we have our unranked Amprex. We're going to head over to a COD in order to use the small bubble build. The reason we're doing a COD over Hydron is because a COD is more open space and it doesn't overcast on the 2nd level. So like Hydron has 2 levels, the bottom and the top. So if we go into Hydron, sometimes the bubble will go on the 2nd level, which will prevent the enemies from jumping down, which our bubble is, I'm trying to keep it as condensed as possible so an open space makes more sense. So a COD, in my personal opinion, is a better option to farm XP rather than Hydron. Not to mention the enemies are just naturally going to be easier, so our bubble will just be more of a bigger what's the word here, impact on this map. So if we go ahead and use our bubble, boom, as you can see, this is a pretty sizable bubble that I can get behind. There's enough room where I can just stand right here and the Amprex can reach and it won't be any issues whatsoever. Plus I can just stand right here and just hit everything and not really move at all, and we'll just probably go all the way to about wave 25, and I think my Amprex will be max level at that point. Alright, we are on wave 25 on a COD. This was pretty easy. Obviously, since I'm soloing and it was a level 0 Amprex, it was a bit of just a lengthy one. Obviously it wasn't a super hard run. This is just, you know, the usual grind, but it works. It works. The one issue that I ran into, especially with just fighting the infested, is, like I said, some things are infested with, you know, the venomous garbage, which just eats away at your health, which with only 300 health made it a bit of a toughie to get around, just because there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to build for health to prevent you from losing so much. But other than that, I highly recommend the 70% bubble for sure. I think the 40% bubble is way too small, and it's definitely not my type of play style. With the 70% bubble, it's got decent enough range. You've got more than enough room to actually move around and not feel so claustrophobic. And if you need to back out, you've got way more options, just personally, that you can just hop out, you know, go into your own realm, heal up for a moment, and then just go right back into it, start casting your bubble again, make sure you cast up stasis, and then you just rinse and repeat the process. It just becomes this effortless situation where you're just casually clearing waves of enemies with no issue whatsoever. Okay, and there we go. We completed 25 waves of a COD, and I think we got a good bit of XP. Let's see here, the Amprex, rank 25, not too bad, off of just one run. I probably could have ran all the way to 30 and gotten the Amprex up to you know, rank 30 as well, but just for the sake of not making this video an hour long, and also for my sanity, I just take it at 25. I'm not really too worried about it. Alright, in conclusion here, boys, Limbo is really good for leveling up your weapons. I think if you want a big bubble, go for Hydron, and if you want a smaller bubble and a more just condensed killing machine, definitely go a COD with the smaller bubble. But for the most part, these are the builds. This one is the big bubble and this one is the smaller bubble. But yeah, remember, I'm giving away a Mesa Prime later at the end of this month or at the start of January. Still haven't figured that out yet, but just leave a like and comment down below and make sure you're subscribed, and I will go ahead and pick a winner for the Mesa Prime. It is sadly only for Xbox One because, you know, I don't play anywhere else. I do have PC, but I don't play on PC at all. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.